Still in the Western Cape, the provincial government says some beneficiaries of subsidised housing are selling their homes and ending up in informal settlements. Residents in the community of Langa are among them. Some say they now regret their actions. The Western Cape government says this is making the housing crisis in the community worse and can lead to overpopulation in informal settlements. Our reporter Ronald Masinda following these developments. Let's talk to him now live from our studio in Cape Town for the latest update. Good afternoon, Ronald. Community leaders in areas that you visited are saying the housing crisis in the Western Cape is now getting out of hand. What exactly did they tell you?
Good afternoon, Pradhan. Well, according to the city of Cape Town, there are around 800 informal settlement areas in the city of Cape Town alone. And the city of Cape Town also saying that during last year's financial year, they had created around 2,000 housing opportunities. But their housing backlog still stands at a staggering 350,000 people, and it is against the backdrop of that where we went to Nyanga, another area that is heavily affected, especially by people who are backyard dwellers. Having spoken to one activist, he says that there is a tendency in Nyanga where a lot of people who get those RDP houses sell them, and that the person that we spoke to, Tulane Pika, also made mention that a lot of the people in that beneficiaries list don't actually belong there, making reference to the Western Cape or the city of Cape Town not making a priority to people who are originally from the Western Cape or Cape Town, and instead they find that only people who've been on the beneficiaries list for a few years, they are the ones handed the properties. And Tulane Pika also made mention that this has also become lucrative business because even in informal settlements you find that a number of people would erect a number of shacks or informal settlements or corrugated irons, and they will do that for income rentals. So Tulane Pika had this to say further.
It's happening. We know people who are selling their houses, they're coming back to erect houses everywhere. That's why Cape Town, it looks like a scrapyard now. There are shacks everywhere, and people who've been in the waiting list for 20 years are vegetating in their backyards.
Well, Ronald, I understand while there are these allegations of illegal house sales, one community says people are sometimes left with no choice.
Yes, indeed, Pradhan. So we've seen throughout the pandemic in many areas in Cape Town where a number of land invasions took place. And that was mainly to do with a lot of people not only losing their jobs, but the issue of economic migration. Many people from the Eastern Cape moving to the Western Cape for better economic opportunities. And in a lot of cases, people would rather choose to, if they have RDP houses, they'll rather choose to downsize and live in informal settlements that will be closer to the city for better economic opportunities, and also to be closer to transportation to take them to town where many of them work. We also heard from Akwane Siswane, an activist who had this to say when we spoke to him in Langa.
The idea of the PNG is that there should be other amenities that should be readily in place before you can give people houses. A house alone is not going to respond to my socio-economic conditions. It's not going to respond to some other social ills that are within the community. So we need an approach that seeks to ensure that these amenities are readily there. People have access to economic opportunities. There is a functioning public transport system that will ensure that people are able to access opportunities, and they're able to, even if you are in Khalisha, you should not be really taking 2 hours from Khalisha to get to the city center where the opportunities are. And then people end up seeing the house as an opportunity for me to rent it out. And it's sometimes lost, that house, it's lost, and these people become the burden of the state again.